This is the Wrestlebread Podcast, bringing you the latest news, recaps, and analysis of AEW and WWE. Get the unique perspective from a wrestling fan of over 25 years. Here's your host, Jaydee.
What's going on, guys? This is Jaydee, and this is episode 131 of the Wrestlebread Podcast. I hope everyone had a great Halloween. Mine was slightly quiet. I went to take my kids to the Franklin Institute, which is a science museum in Philadelphia, and it was a lot of trick-or-treating in there and stuff like that, and it was pretty cool. They had blast. And then I just kind of came home and watched some football, go Cowboys, and that was pretty much it. Checked out the trailer Morbius, which I thought looked really good. I'm not too familiar with the character, but from what I've seen, I can't wait for this movie to come out. It's just a really good year as far as all these movies that's coming out. I mean, we got the Batman coming, we got the Spider-Man movie, all the Marvel movies that's coming out soon. It's just going to be such a great year, especially coming out of the pandemic, to be able to check out some movies. And I'm still kind of like iffy going to the movie theater, unfortunately, because of the pandemic. We have been avoiding crowds for so long, and now we have to get used to wanting to walk into a crowded theater. It's just a weird thing. It really is. And it's a shame because, it is what it is, but it's just a weird thing. So getting into some news, rumors, and some recaps. First of all, it's been a crazy week this week with wrestling. First of all, the biggest news, of course, is the WWE Releases. About 20 people have been released. Almost 20 people have been released from WWE. And it seems like it's still more people that may be released on top of that. So, top of the list is Keith Lee, Karrion Kross, Eva Marie, Nia Jax, Amber Moon, Mia Yim, Harry Smith, Scarlett, B-Fab, Katrina Cortez, Trey Baxter, Frankie Monet, Gran Metalik, Jeet Rama, Zeta Ramir, Oni Larkin, Lindsay Dorado, and Jesse Camilla. So the biggest surprise to me is actually Nia Jax. I figured because of her connection, with the Roman Reigns and The Rock and everything like that, she comes from the Anoa'i family. So I'm just, surprised that she was let go. I mean, she has caused a lot of injuries in the ring. So understandably, I understand why she was let go. But, because of the fact that she has this big family connection, I thought she was protected, especially after all this time and the number of times that she has injured people in the ring. But, it is what it is now. I mean, I guess we should expect anything, especially when Braun Strowman was released during a run for the WWE Championship. Another person that I'm slightly surprised with is actually Keith Lee. I feel as though they left a lot of money on the table with him because they wanted him to fit into such a cookie cutter type of wrestler, and it really didn't fit his style. And instead of just, wanting to maximize the profits on this guy, because you definitely could have made a lot of money on t-shirts and stuff like that. He could have definitely have been major in the company because he does have a talent that you don't really see in wrestling, especially in WWE, that a guy his size to be able to be so agile. But unfortunately, WWE wanted him to wrestle like he's a big guy and, kind of similar to basically what they're doing with Omos right now. That he is doing these big moves and they're putting over the fact that he is so tall and so big and stuff like that. And I feel as though, I thought that they were going to do a little bit more with Keith Lee, especially since he had the new Bearcat persona. And they could have definitely had, built him up as a baby face, give him back his old moveset and connect him with the crowd and everything like that. And he could have definitely had some really good feuds. Hey, look at what happened at the 2020 Royal Rumble when he came face to face with Brock Lesnar. That's a feud that they could have definitely have done. That would have definitely have drew, it would drew some numbers there. It's just, I tend to look at the corporate side of things because I worked in corporate America. And so I always look to see, like, you guys could have definitely had, made money off of this person. Or, I understand why this person was let go because you're not really making money with this person, or they're not connecting with the crowd. And it just feels like with NXT, the black and gold NXT, a lot of these wrestlers were kind of like dead on arrival when they come up to the main roster, because a lot of these casual crowds don't really know who these people are. And that's because WWE didn't really advertise the black and gold NXT like that. It was almost like a big secret to everyone except for those who were in like the exclusive club who knew that it exists. And so when a lot of these wrestlers come up to the main roster, like Karrion Kross, and the thing that kind of made them special in the black and gold NXT doesn't really translate with the crowd, well, then you kind of like do little things that doesn't really help them at all. First of all, the fact that he came onto the main roster as NXT champion and was beat by Jeff Hardy in a few minutes, and Jeff Hardy even cheated for him to win. I mean, like I said, it's not about wins and losses. It's all about dominance and camera time with WWE. And so the fact that Karrion Kross kind of like, he is the NXT champion and he lost in such a short time and to Jeff Hardy really wasn't a good look for him. I mean, look at the way that he came up to the main roster versus Kevin Owens going up to the main roster. And I'm not saying that him and Kevin Owens are the same. I'm saying that the presentation of the NXT champion to the main roster. You could have easily had done something like that with Karrion Kross. And if you wanted him to be the heel on the main roster, you definitely could have had him completely destroy Karrion Kross instead of what we got instead. And then you kind of, I admit, what made him very special was that entrance with Scarlett. And I'm surprised that they let go of Scarlett as well, because she definitely has the look that they love on the main roster. And she could have I don't understand why she wasn't with Karrion Kross during his entrance. Now, that would have got a lot of fans over to his side. Let's be 100% honest. If you see Scarlett coming out with Karrion Kross, you'd be very interested in what's going on over there as well. As far as Mia Yim, feel slightly bad for her because she really didn't have a chance at all on the main roster. I mean, she kind of came up with Retribution, which was a pretty bad idea, unfortunately, for those involved. And then once she had her mask taken off, she kind of like disappeared. Then it was the situation with her and Karrion Kross, and it just felt like she was just, gone. So I'm not too surprised that she was let go, but it's just sad that she was let go because they could have gave her really a shot. I mean, the WWE really doesn't know how to build a lot of storylines outside of the main title picture. Outside the title picture, they may have one storyline going. Other than that, all the other women in the WWE are either twiddling their thumbs or they're having like 2-minute matches on SmackDown on Raw. So it's not really, like, I can't really be too surprised that they didn't really have nothing for her and that they really didn't know what to do with her on top of that, because she isn't in either of the main, either of the title pictures. And on top of that, she's pretty talented. So it is what it is. And they let Keith Lee go. So it seems like they're doing the whole, no, you can't even say the couples thing, because Frankie Monet got released, and so John Morrison is still there. So I can't really even say it's the whole couples thing. Amber Moon, really, like I had said previously on the podcast, with this whole NXT 2.0, we got all these new faces, and it feels like with the originals of the NXT Black and Gold is either they're going to move up to the main roster or they might be released. So seeing people like Amber Moon and Oni Larkin being let go at this point in time, I'm not exactly surprised. I feel bad for them because it sucks to lose a job, especially since we're this close to the holidays. And on top of that, you have that no compete clause. Even though, for the NXT people, it's only 30 days. So it's not exactly too bad. But you're still looking at the beginning of December as far as being able to get a job again. Actually, Oni Larkin put out a YouTube video, and he actually said his is a 90-day clause. So he isn't able to really compete in any other company until February, which sucks for him. I mean, being let go like that so close to the holidays, and even when people are being let go during the pandemic, I mean, it completely sucks. I get, it is what it is as far as business. But like I said, with some of these wrestlers, they weren't even given a chance to really make something of themselves so that you can maximize your profits off these people. With this NXT 2.0, it was such a big makeover that you're not giving people of the original NXT Black and Gold a chance to have, really a fighting chance to do something here. They could have definitely started filling in new faces and still kind of have the Black and Gold wrestlers in there to kind of like give it a spark. But I am very interested to see as far as like the profits of the NXT 2.0 and the consistent ratings and how USA is taking as far as the new NXT 2.0. Eva Marie, I am slightly a bit surprised about because they brought her back. She definitely has the look that they want to go for on the main roster. But I was curious of what they were going to do with her once this whole Doudrop situation was settled. If she was going to move on and, kind of like float around, on Raw or SmackDown. But it seems like they did what they needed to do with her and they let her go. Unless she has other things that she is looking forward to. I mean, she's pretty successful. She was pretty successful outside of WWE with her going to the Big Brother house and everything like that she was doing once she had left WWE. So I think that she is fine. But, I feel as though when they brought her back, they could have used her better. Because, I mean, she had the heel heat. And there's not a lot of effective heels that they have on the main roster outside of Charlotte. No, Eva Marie doesn't have the wrestling talent to really match up with that. But I felt as though with the go away heat that they would have done something a little more with her. Now, I know a lot of people are going to automatically go with the, AEW, blah, blah, blah. But you have to understand, outside WWE, the only company that really has the money and the TV presence to kind of keep up what you had with WWE is actually AEW. Not a lot of the other promotions have a TV deal like AEW. I mean, Ring of Honor is pretty much gone. Who knows if they're actually going to come back in 2022. Impact, they got something, but it's just the crowd that really kind of like not really helped for me. And on top of that, the promoting, because they recently had a pay-per-view event and I didn't even know about it. I completely didn't know until pretty much it was happening. Then, you're going over to New Japan or you're going to one of the other promotions as well if you are more financially stable yourself. But as far as, I think AEW should really pick up some of these people. Now, of course, you have the issue of AEW has a lot of talent already, especially for the fact that they only have 3 hours of actual TV. Everything else is YouTube. It seems like they have a system where they're rotating talent. I feel as though they definitely need help on the women's side. Don't take Nia Jax. Truthfully, I think Nia Jax, she was a model before she came to WWE. I think she could definitely be modeling again. I mean, she is beautiful, and she definitely has, like, she's very photogenic. The way she looks on WWE and the way she looks on her Instagram or even on Total Divas is just like night and day. So I feel as though she can definitely get back into modeling easily. Eva Marie, she's going to go back doing what she was doing before WWE. Truthfully, I would say they can pick up Amber Moon, Mia Yim, and Frankie Monet. I feel as though, like I said before in a previous episode, the women in AEW are pretty inexperienced, so they don't have the experience of being in front of a large crowd, having to deal with cameras and promos and stuff like that. Because when you're wrestling in the indies, I mean, you're wrestling in front of 200 people and stuff, and it was more like you're still kind of learning. But now, as we see with Red Velvet, one wrong move and you're trending on Twitter. And I feel as though AEW definitely needs to improve on their women's side. I mean, AEW is still young. I feel as though in 2 to 3 years, a lot of these women that we see are going to get a lot better and more comfortable on TV. But because AEW is actively, competing on TV and have the TV deals and stuff like that, I feel as though they definitely can benefit from having veterans on the main roster that can help out their women's division. I mean, look at what the veterans did on the men's side. We have a lot of names that we haven't heard before, like Jungle Boy and Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara. A lot of people who weren't known, previous from AEW, who is now pretty much a household name. So I feel as though on the women's side, they definitely can use women who have experience being in front of a camera, having to recite promos in front of a large crowd, being able to help out a lot of the younger talent so that AEW can build up that organic talent over there. Because it all just can't be Britt Baker. As good as Britt Baker is, it can't be just Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa 24/7. They got to build up a lot more of their other talent. And they do have talent over there. There's a lot of talented women there. It's just that they need time to, improve their skills and their promos and stuff like that. But at the same time, they don't have time because they're actively on TV every single week. And now that they got this TBS championship tournament and, the start of AEW Dynamite going to TBS, it seems like they're going to get a lot more women's wrestling than we had previous before, if the rumor is true that it is the TNT that is holding back from only having one women's match on the main roster. So I feel as though we have until February or until January to kind of like get things going. And I feel as though you can definitely benefit from a lot of these women on the that has been released from WWE. Now, as far as with the men's side, no, they don't need to pick up every single person. I feel as though some of these names can go back to, can either go to Impact, can go to Impact or go to New Japan or something like that. Or, if they have other ventures that they want to do as well. I think AEW should definitely pick up Keith Lee. AEW definitely needs a little bit more, not exactly diversity, because they have people who are people of color who are up in the higher storylines in AEW, but they do not have a lot of African American men who are getting like not really major storylines, but people like Scorpio Sky, who won the Face of the Revolution or whatever it was, grabbing that brass ring, and it kind of went nowhere. And I feel like somebody like Keith Lee can definitely come into AEW and definitely shine. Even Like, yeah, they have a lot of damn people going after the AEW championship, especially the fact that we have the Elite up there. But I feel as though Keith Lee can definitely get put into that picture somehow. Yes, I know, it's the whole former WWE people, but I think this isn't WCW. This isn't people who are on the top of WWE coming to AEW and just completely taking over the show. This is people who were with WWE, weren't really used to their biggest potential with WWE, and is coming over to AEW and is like really shining. Like, first of all, like Aleister Black, um, Andrade, Miro. Yes, I know we have CM Punk. Yes, I know we have Bryan Danielson, stuff like that. Yes, I know we can't even say Adam Cole, because Adam Cole didn't even make it to the main roster. But they could definitely use some of these names that have been let go. Do they really need Karrion Kross over there? I would say no. I think more likely Karrion Kross and Scarlett may go to Impact, who knows? But I think they should definitely grab Keith Lee. Only Larkin is someone who can go over to AEW too. Um Team him up with somebody and definitely, throw another tag team in AEW. Seeing as though Lindsay and Grand Metalik, we just saw Kalisto debut with AEW. You don't actually have to sign all these people. You can just have them come on AEW Dark or whatever and just have them wrestle. I completely forgot we have AAA. On top of that, a lot of the Hispanic wrestlers, or pretty much anyone, truthfully, whoever wants to wrestle over in Mexico can definitely hit up AAA. It's just it's not the way it used to be, where your only destination is one company or two. Now there are so many wrestling companies out there. Yes, AEW is the one company that has a major TV deal and the money to support a roster. However, you can still like wrestle at different places on top of that. Because even with AEW, they have the Forbidden Door where you can wrestle in different promotions and, kind of get your name out there and stuff like that. But yeah, no, they don't have to actually like pick up every single person. And no, people are sitting here on this whole grand scheme that Vince McMahon is purposely releasing people just so AEW can pick them up. I really don't think it's that, because that's a very stupid idea to purposely release people in order for AEW to sign everyone and swell up, because AEW can easily just not sign people. They already got enough of rumored people who still supposed to debut. I mean, we still got Bray Wyatt floating in the wings and stuff like that. So no, I don't think this is intentionally them releasing people just for AEW to sign them up, because a lot of these people aren't really not now. This may sound a little mean, but this is the truth. A lot of these people here are not worth like $1 million contract for AEW. You can easily sign some of these people with an NXT type of deal that they were getting. I can see if they're releasing bigger names, like if they release like the Usos or they release Roman Reigns or something like that, people who they really pay, and for AEW to like get into like a price war, like what happened with WWE and WCW. WCW were trying to sign all these big ass names like Hulk Hogan and Bret Hart and stuff like that. And it's because they were trying to match dollar for dollar what WWE is paying. It's not the same here. A lot of these people who were released were a lot of the NXT people. And you can pay these people NXT type prices. You don't have to pay all these people millions of bucks. That's where you can like swell up the talent. And you can still have people a bit of a rotation. I mean, the thing that kind of works with AEW right now is, yes, they only do 3 hours of wrestling. They do the YouTube thing. But they are recycling their rosters, so you don't actually have to really be on every single Wednesday. You can also wrestle at different promotions, kind of like live out your wrestling dreams of who you want to fight against. They have people doing promos and stuff like that. Kind of like give people a reason to kind of miss you, I should say. But it is starting to get to the point where we are seeing a lot of the elite, for example. I mean, this is what I'm saying right now. Like, we're only 2 years in of AEW. We still don't know what the hell AEW is doing. Let's be honest, okay? So I'm saying what they're doing right now, but in like a couple of years, they could be in the same damn position as WWE, and we're seeing nothing but the elite and Daniel Bryan and CM Punk every single week. I mean, we're kind of getting that now, but I'm just saying. I say, once we hit year 4 and 5, then we'll see really what the true colors are as far as what AEW is doing. But right now, AEW is the new kid on the block. It's the new flavor of the year. It's Christmas right now in the wrestling world, and we haven't really worn out the new toy yet. So this could all change in another 2-3 years, and then we can say, AEW is swelling up and all the issues that's going on with AEW. But I will admit, I am more patient with what AEW is doing right now because they're still new, still trying to figure out what the hell they're trying to do. And they're still like working out their roster. Once we start getting to, if and when AEW starts releasing people and we get to that point, then we'll have that talk. So don't sit here and think that I am pro AEW because I call AEW on their shit too. It's just that right now I'm a little more patient with what they're doing because they're still new to this game. And once we see, the full deck, I'm not going to make complete judgments on them until, once they're fully settled in. So now going into some other news and rumors. First of all, Ringside News, and please take this with a grain of salt. Ringside News has been called out on their shit a lot, and I take it with a grain of salt. If Ringside News was to tell me that water is wet, I will look it up on the internet to get a second source to see if it's true. And I'm saying this just so I can dispute it, but they claimed that Bray Wyatt was hard to get along with backstage before his release from WWE, which is, if you really think about it, yes, it would kind of make sense if he didn't really like where his character was going. First of all, Bray Wyatt is a very creative individual. We can kind of see that. And he's working for a company who likes to have creative control. So it would kind of make sense not really for him to be difficult to work with, but for him to have an opinion of things and then for them to completely shut that shit down. And allegedly the rumor is that he had an issue once they burnt The Fiend. And I do remember myself when they decided to burn The Fiend, I really questioned how this was going to translate in the ring. So, it's whatever with that rumor, that he was hard to get along with backstage. So I don't know what's going on backstage. Truthfully, I don't have an insider, in the WWE yet. I don't have an insider, but you can kind of tell that, this rumor probably isn't all that it seemed. However, on the subject of Bray Wyatt, the person, and I completely forgot the person's name, is the individual who's behind the Bray Wyatt mask, and he also created the mask that Malachi Black wears to the ring. He actually revealed that there was an idea for the puppets in the Firefly Funhouse to be brought to life, and apparently Bray Wyatt was going to portray all of them. And they showed the mask of what Bray Wyatt would be if he had brought Huskus to life. And oh my gosh. I don't know how it would have translated into the ring. If you haven't seen it, definitely go to Twitter and check it out. It is a crazy horror mask. And I really don't know how it would have translated to the ring. I guess they were going to do like backstage vignettes or something. But we have to still keep in mind, I guess Bray Wyatt completely forgot that WWE is still hanging on the PG point of ratings. And so that mask definitely would have scared a lot of damn kids. And I say let them be scared because fucking Undertaker scared the hell out of me when I was younger. So it's all part of childhood as far as with wrestling. But yeah, first of all, Bray Wyatt needs to be in a horror movie. Some director needs to scoop up that man and create a horror trilogy with him. Just have him being the damn monster or whatever. Have him like cut a promo or something like that. And I feel as though that's where Bray Wyatt really needs to be. I'm glad WWE Studios isn't going to do something with that. But I feel as though, like, yeah, Bray Wyatt needs to be in a horror movie. I really don't think that, I hope that if he is going to AEW, that Tony Khan won't be like, Tony Khan is a big wrestling fan, and you can see, like, he admires, like, he is more, I feel like he is more of a fan first versus boss when it comes to wrestling, if that makes sense. And I really hope that he just does not let Bray Wyatt just do whatever he wants. Like, that mask, like I said, I really don't know how it's going to translate in the ring. But I feel as though, like, you could let people have their creativity and stuff, but, you kind of got to ring it in. I mean, we've seen it happen before of, things getting out of hand as far as promos over in AEW. But I kind of hope that if Bray Wyatt does go to AEW, that a lot of the crazy things that he has in his head kind of like stay in there, truthfully. And this is coming from someone who likes Bray Wyatt. I like Bray Wyatt. I think he is, very good creatively. But some of the things, like, yeah, I don't know how it translates to the ring. And you gotta think if it works in the long term as far as the gimmick that he would create. Another big news, speaking of AEW, one of the biggest news with AEW that has been announced by Tony Khan, that Jon Moxley has entered rehab for alcoholism. He mentioned that Jon Moxley allows him to share the news, and that he has entered an inpatient facility, if I remember correctly. Because of this, Jon Moxley was pulled from the AEW Championship Contender Tournament, and I give Jon Moxley the praise. And it's not just because he's a wrestler or anything like that. Anybody who, have enough power to admit that they have an addiction and decides to ask for help, whether that is with alcohol, drugs, mental health, suicide. So anyone who has the strength to ask for help, is able to be vulnerable enough to ask for help, I applaud them all the way. If you feel as though you need help with alcoholism, drugs, suicide, mental health, ask for help. Really ask for help. And I applaud him for that. I really do. And I like the fact that they brought it to light. Especially the fact, like I said, and like a lot of people have said, the fact that they kept the whole situation with Brody Lee quiet really speaks volumes there. Because it could have definitely have been leaked. We would have knew every single thing that happened with that man, and had his family, reading everything on, social media and stuff. But the fact that we didn't know that he was sick the whole time, and that his family was able to have enough privacy with it, it really speaks volumes. So as far as with Jon Moxley, I really hope that his road to recovery is smooth. Thoughts with his family and everything like that. Some people, and they did a little tribute after the show for him and stuff. And some people was like, well, he's acting like he's dying. I mean, Tony Khan mentioned how it was like the second hardest week as far as his with wrestling and AEW and stuff. Which, I don't know. I don't know the full story, so I can't really make a judgment call on that. But the fact that CM Punk came out to say something about it, really gave praise to Jon Moxley and everything, and told people to, get help if they need it, and kind of to, just use the moment to bring awareness to this, because not everyone is perfect. Not everyone's living a perfect life. There is no such thing as a perfect life. Everyone is dealing with something. The fact that it doesn't really feel like they're like taking full advantage of it, but they're kind of like using it to bring awareness to addictions and kind of saying like, hey, someone as big as Jon Moxley felt as though they needed help and they went and got it, and you can get help too if you need it. So that's kind of what I drew from it. So going into the recaps of everything, since we're on AEW, talking about AEW, let's go into what happened with AEW Dynamite this week. Of course, you know, people are bringing up that their ratings have been going down since All Out in September, which, you know, two of those Dynamites was on a Saturday, which really doesn't help because you don't see the show on Wednesday, and if you don't really pay attention, you don't realize it's not on Saturday. You think it's canceled, and you just kind of move on to your regularly scheduled program. So I really didn't expect the Saturday Dynamites to really do so well because people are starting to go out now because you know, it's not as bad as it is with the pandemic. So I really didn't expect them to do very well. You know, it is what it is. I guess I think their numbers hit under 1 million. I mean, right, it don't really matter anyway. So, but yeah, as far as with this past Dynamite, we had FTR versus first of all Kalisto, whose name is Samurai Del Sol, and Aerostar. And I was a little frustrated because I couldn't understand why we couldn't have this Lucha team going against the Lucha Bros when they had the mystery tag team, the Lucha tag team going against the Lucha Bros. I don't know why we didn't get Kalisto and Aerostar. I guess his 90-day clause or whatever wasn't up, but it was just like I'm still slightly frustrated that it ended up being FTR in the end. I mean, we could have easily had FTR like interfere in that match and then have FTR versus the Lucha Bros in a match and then they win the AAA titles, but I'm still slightly frustrated that we didn't get an actual Lucha team. So we got FTR, who came out to the old Midnight Express theme going against Samurai Del Sol and Aerostar. It was a pretty good match, you know. It was FTR not loving the high flying moves of I keep wanting to call him Kalisto, but Samurai Del Sol and Aerostar. But yeah, I mean, I think it was actually for the AAA titles, and which they retained. And then we had Lucha Bros coming out to save the day after the match. We also had Andrade versus Cody Rhodes as well. Andrade showing like I'm really loving Andrade in AEW. It's really giving me the vibes from when he was in NXT. And it's really showing like a lot more of his lucha moves. A lot of people love this little sequence that happened when Cody Rhodes was whipped into the corner and he did the flip over the top rope to avoid the corner. Then you see Andrade immediately seeing what Cody was about to do, and he flipped over the rope as well to get onto the apron. And you see him shake his finger like, no, 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 no. So I thought that was a cool sequence as well. Andrade actually, he was working the leg of Cody Rhodes and he did the figure 4. Wow. Woo. What about that one? Of course, because of daddy-in-law, Cody gets the lost here, which I'm certainly fine about. I mean, I really hope that he will eventually turn heel. I know he doesn't want to turn heel, and he's sitting here saying his daughter and stuff like that, even though she's too young for it. Like, I would be more concerned of her looking up the Stardust shit versus her seeing that her daddy turned heel when she was 5 days old. I'm just really hoping that this is all like a work and he is actually slowly turning heel. Because Malachi Black came out with this promo of how he was banned from ringside and stuff. And he mentioned, I'm not worried about it. And you know why I'm not worried about it? He said, when Julius Caesar was executed, it wasn't just Marcus who betrayed him. And he said it as he was fading into the darkness. And I thought that was really cool. Because I guess if Cody Rhodes doesn't turn heel, someone close to him will. And I'm slightly fine with that, but I think Cody really needs to turn heel. I really do. I just feel like it's a slow burn to it. But I guess, we can only hope that it happens and just hold our breath for it. We also, like I said, had the CM Punk promo. He mentioned that Eddie Kingston wasn't there. And he mentioned that Full Gear is an option, but he will be in St. Louis on Friday. Eddie Kingston tweeted that he will be at St. Louis on Friday. I am looking forward to an Eddie Kingston versus CM Punk promo. First of all, Eddie Kingston can cut a promo or anything. I've seen it happen. He cut a promo on some Sour Patch Kids, and it was fire. But I am interested in a promo versus promo as far as them two. If we can get CM Punk with the pipe bomb, I feel as though we can get pipe bomb CM Punk here to kind of really go toe to toe with Eddie Kingston. As I feel as though if anybody can really take, really can stand toe to toe as far as promoing with CM Punk, it can definitely be Eddie Kingston. So I'm looking forward to that. We also had Miro taking the place of Jon Moxley since he is out of the tournament. He went up against Orange Cassidy there, and he won the match as Brian Danielson was on commentary. And so now we are going to get Miro versus Bryan Danielson at Full Gear. And so far, pretty much every match that Bryan was in, it's been such a really good match. So I am looking forward to Miro versus Bryan at Full Gear. I think it will be a pretty good match. We've seen Miro ever since he, got this new Redeemer gimmick going. He has definitely turned it up to 100, and Bryan, he's just living his life right now. So I think this is going to be a pretty good match for Full Gear. Next week, I will be giving my predictions for Full Gear, so be on the lookout for that. So going into WWE, as far as with Raw and SmackDown, I had issues with this Queen of the Ring tournament from the get-go. And now that we have our Queen Zelina, now we are seeing what is going to happen, because Zelina had her moments of shine, and she still has that stupid-ass British accent that they're trying to do with her. Now, I wouldn't have a problem with this if she didn't say anything on Twitter about being the first. I think she said Hokage queen in WWE. And I was like, okay, she's going to bring some little bit of anime to this, and we're going to get some fire out of this. But instead, it seems like we're getting King Booker 2.0. And I'm not understanding where the British accent is coming from, especially the fact she's from New York. You can hear that New York accent. And so for her with that New York Hispanic accent, trying to do a British accent, which we've seen this past Raw, she really couldn't keep it up because she was trying to keep the British accent going. But it was the moment when she was like, I couldn't, what'd she say? She said something about the cape or something like that. Like the cape is the ugliest thing I ever seen or something like that. She completely said it in her, normally. She didn't have the accent at all. So, I'm hoping that this is like a small time deal and that we're going to get whatever it is Zelina really had going for the Queen of the Ring. But it seems like she doesn't really have as much leadway creativity with the Queen of the Ring as we have seen Xavier Woods have with King of the Ring, which is really a shame because it could definitely bring something different here, especially the fact that this is the first Queen of the Ring and you're already trying to get the whole British thing going. We had Damian Priest versus T-Bar, a little bit of the rematch from the Black and Gold NXT, and it was really refreshing of seeing more Dominic Dijakovic versus T-Bar. So, a little bit of feast your eyes thing going on. I hope we kind of keep it going to kind of like slowly bring Dominik Dijakovic back, but I mean, I know it's not really going to happen, but, you know, we can only hope. So going into SmackDown, we have the knighting ceremony with King Woods. We had a bit of a cameo by Hit Row back when B-Fab had the job. And then we had the Usos versus the New Day, which, you know, their feud from back in the day was, of course, one of the feuds of the year at that time. And so I am all for seeing the Royal Day going against the Bloodline Usos. I'm fine with that type of feud. It seems like also we're getting that again. I did see on Twitter there was a promo for a future Raw that I guess they weren't selling tickets like that or something like that, allegedly. And so they're bringing the Usos and Roman Reigns going against the New Day, and I think it's Drew McIntyre going against each other for Raw. I think it is. I have to look at it again. I think that's what it was, which is all SmackDown people. And that don't really make a lot of sense for it to be on Raw. But, you know, I guess we're going to have that wild card rule or whatever rule they're going to decide to think of. But then again, a card is subject to change. They could easily just, you know, throw that on there to sell tickets like they did with WrestleMania 30. I literally have, I have memorabilia still of The Rock versus Brock Lesnar for WrestleMania 30. So they can easily have done this, you know, again, you know, throw things together to promote tickets and then just say card subject to change. What do you want? What do you want? Roman Reigns is on SmackDown. What the hell y'all want? We got Naomi in the ring again. She was going against Shayna Baszler, and I'm fine with, slowly we're getting Shayna Baszler slightly back. Like I said, as long as we don't get her with that Fremini crap, I'm all fine and good with it. We're also getting, you know, Naomi. It seems like they're trying to build up the whole underdog thing with her going against the Authority. If that's the way that they're going to go, okay. I just hope that it just doesn't lead to nowhere, like sometimes a lot of these things too. Shotzi is now a heel, even though I wish she had turned heel in NXT Black and Gold, because normally when a woman turns heel in NXT Black and Gold, they come out with new music, new outfit, 20 times hotter. Like, we could look at a lot of names on the list from what they used to do, like Io Shirai, first of all, which is the biggest example. But I guess because of what we got from Halloween Havoc last year, we kind of already got the look of what could have been. But yeah, Shotzi Blackheart is now heel, so I guess we're going to get more of her versus Sasha Banks, while Charlotte kind of is just standing there, I guess. Or Charlotte will just have open challenges via John Cena and start beating up the rest of the SmackDown roster. Guess what, guys? I watched NXT 2.0 this week, and I tried to give it a chance. I really did, but you know, yeah, it's just so hard to really get into NXT 2.0. And I do blame the fact that I watch NXT Black and Gold, so I know what used to be, and I'm making that comparison, which I guess I really shouldn't do, and just really look at it for what it is. And that's probably why NXT 2.0 is not really loved by everyone, because we're all remembering NXT Black and Gold, and just making that comparison. However, I really don't, like, business-wise, I don't understand why a developmental show is on a major cable network. For it to be, you know, 8 o'clock on a Tuesday for 2 hours, and you're actively calling it a development show, you're putting on all these new faces and stuff like that. Now, I could be completely wrong, and I'm probably maybe eating my words, because probably in a couple of months, NXT 2.0 will probably be a big thing on USA, and I'm like really trying, I know what I said, I know it may sound ridiculous what I just said, but hey, you know, I try to be optimistic when it comes to these type of things, and sometimes, a lot of times, it don't really work out that well. However, when you call something a developmental show and you completely wipe away a lot of the things that made NXT what it was, and you put on all these new faces and stuff, and you're kind of figuring out, you kind of got like the website up of the roster, so you can say, wait, who is this person? Because I keep getting Lash Legend mixed up with the chick with the bubbles. I keep thinking it's the same person because it is what it is. I still don't know who the guy is that teams up with that's been teaming up with Kyle O'Reilly, like Von Miller or whatever. I know I got that name completely wrong. I don't understand. I don't get it. He doesn't really do anything for me. Like, he has a cool look, I guess. But I'm not understanding like why I should care about him. Tony D'Angelo, is just, he's one of the best things going for NXT 2.0 right now. He was so good this week on the Lash Legend Wendy Williams talk show. Like, you can clearly tell, like, whether he oh my gosh, like, he walked off the set of The Sopranos. Like, I can see him definitely with his family at Thanksgiving or whatever, Sunday dinner or something, telling Uncle Joe to pass the pasta and stuff like that. First of all, he's not from Chicago. He has that New York accent. First of all, he's probably in Chicago because he probably got a couple of bodies over in New York City that, is on a missing list or in a couple of milk cartons. But the way he was on the show, they brought out the producer and he was like, oh, say hi to your wife, Linda. And then he was like, your kid, such and such, such and such. Oh my gosh, guys, your dad is on TV. And then he told him, like, take a walk. I mean, like I said, I could see, it seems like he's a pretty good wrestler in the ring. I had to watch him a little bit more in the ring to really get an actual opinion, to get a definite opinion about it. But as far as the character, money, first of all. Money. Like, he now captures the emoji that everybody now uses with him. Like, nobody uses that emoji until Tony D'Angelo came along. So, Lash Legend, I guess she's never going to wrestle. She just has that talk show. I actually looked it up to see if she actually wrestled in NXT. It doesn't really seem like it. I guess she's going to be doing this talk show until they decide to use her in the ring. But yeah, I'm not getting her. I don't like the talk show. It's just something with her, like the way, like she's very, like she exaggerates everything with the lash thing and stuff. Like, she's a likable person, it seems like, outside the character. I've seen her Instagram. I know she used to play in the WNBA and stuff, but it's just like very exaggerated. And it's this thing that WWE makes the women do that like drives me crazy, where they have to like exaggerate shit. It drives me crazy, and they have her doing it, and it's just not connecting with me at all. Braun Breaker, basically Scott Steiner 2.0. He's more like his uncle than he is his dad, especially when he talks, man. Oh my gosh. Just don't cut a promo about math, dude. Just don't do it. But Braun Breaker is another person that really is like making a name for himself. He is another person that's like the best thing going with NXT 2.0. I just don't understand why they couldn't just fill them in with the current black and gold wrestlers. But like, I understand why they did the full wipe, but I don't understand why they did the full wipe. I feel as though they could have done a fourth show with this. Like, I just want my black and gold NXT back, yo. Like, I feel like Johnny Gargano's about to be let go. I mean, it seems like, no, I know his contract is coming up soon. And it don't really seem like he's not going to, it doesn't seem like he's going to renew it. I just want my black and gold NXT back. Like, I'm just remembering all the fond memories of NXT TakeOver and stuff like that. Like, all the matches of the year, the great pay-per-views, how we used to always crack up Sunday mornings to say, hey, NXT TakeOver took over the weekend. Now it's the main roster's turn. Like, we're not going to have those moments anymore. We have to go to Peacock now to watch NXT Black and Gold now. Like, that era is now over. And don't give me the crap that Triple H still has control or something like that, because they did the shaky cam crap again. I caught it. I caught it on NXT 2.0 this week when it was the Mandy Rose segment. First of all, you have Mandy Rose saying, "I'm hot. Don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like me?" Like that whole promo she was doing. I mean, she was talking more about how hot she was versus the fact that she was champion. So we got that going on. And then we got, the constant promos and stuff like that, which NXT Black and Gold did, but it just feels like you can really feel it in NXT 2.0. You didn't really feel it in Black and Gold NXT because they did a lot more wrestling than that. But with NXT 2.0, like, you could really feel like they doing a lot of damn promos, yo. Then they had Zion Quinn. I know, like, I seen him wrestle before and I was like, oh, this looks like, this seems like this is going to be something cool. And then he went against Robert Stone, the Tony Khan parody, for some reason. Like I said, I didn't really catch NXT 2.0 like that, so I'm out of the loop as to why he was going against Robert Stone and why all of a sudden it was a singing and dance contest. And then he sung, first of all, Robert Stone singing the Frankie Monet song really badly. It was just like straight up cartoon. And then they had Zion Quinn singing HBK's theme with the dance moves and stuff. It felt like main roster. Like, I give it to him. Yes, he has the dance moves and the singing moves, and yes, oh my gosh, she's hot and all that other stuff. But however, like, why did we do that? What good does this character besides give him a couple of more female wrestling fans? How, like, is this going to help him whip somebody else's ass? Who is he going to go against outside Robert Stone? Robert Stone done lost people anyway. He doesn't really have a brand anymore. So are they going to have Robert Stone now wrestle against Zion Quinn? I feel as though Zion Quinn definitely has like more. I feel like, as far as with Zion Quinn, I feel as though he has a lot more talent than what they're trying to showcase him for. And yeah, I know, he might be fine from it or whatever, but I don't get why we had that happen. Like, even if you're trying to say, like, I'm saying this because of NXT, I didn't like when AEW did that damn musical number with MJF and Jericho. And I said it fits Jericho because Jericho's in the band and stuff like that. But I was like, it doesn't really fit MJF. And I was concerned as how that was going to affect MJF. So don't pull that shit on me. I'm a fair person here. But I just don't get why we did that with Zion Quinn. And the biggest thing that broke my heart, I saw it on Twitter during work. And I probably, this is like my first instinct. I saw the backstage interview with Kushida. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, there was a video that NXT 2.0 put out on Twitter. It was Kushida and Ike Manjiro. They were backstage and they were dressed up like Kurt Angle, old wrestling days. And they were like, it gave me Kai and Tai vibes, but in a very bad way. Like, Like, I wouldn't say it broke my heart, but I was just so frustrated when I saw that. And they were talking very broken English. Like, they sounded like they don't really speak English at all. And then they was like, yeah, I forgot what they were saying. But then the person that was interviewing was like, jacket time? And they was like, yeah, jacket time. And I'm like, Kushida is so much more than what they just did to him. Now, I don't know if maybe this was just them backstage doing this, or if they completely changed his gimmick. But I was just so frustrated because Kushida is so talented. And I felt as though, like, you know how they have the multiverse in MCU? I felt as though in this multiverse, he was the son of Marty McFly. Like, we would have found out, like, Michael J. Fox would have came out and said, yo, it is true, Marty McFly had an interracial baby and is actually Kushida. Like, I was really expecting that. But I felt as though Kushida is, like, very talented in that he could have definitely I felt as though he could have kept the same gimmick. It can translate into NXT 2.0. You could have definitely have done a lot more with that. But now that it seems like they're making a joke of him now because this is more entertainment. We are going into the entertainment part of WWE versus the wrestling part of WWE. So I guess I should have, when they decided to do this NXT 2.0, then I should have, made, grieved the former wrestlers of NXT 2.0, whether it's the change in their gimmicks or just them disappearing all, period. And to just understand that Kushida would be part of that as well. And I could be completely wrong, and that this just could have been a backstage segment. But even if it is, it still plants that seed of what they would do with him. But yeah, that whole situation with Kushida, oh my gosh, that made me upset. It really did. We also had more of Cameron Grimes. He was playing poker against, I think his name was Duke or something like that. That was a whole segment as well. And then we had the university guy also as well. And then we had it was the guy, I think he was a counselor or something, and he was saying how the wrestling ring was his safe space. Joe Gacy. And now that we have Brock Lesnar Jr. debuting, he definitely gives me, like, he looks like Kane when Kane took off his mask. We got him, and now he seems to be the muscle of Joe Gacy. And so we got something going with there. It seems like they wanted to bring back the Bo Dallas gimmick. But now that he has the muscle with him, it seems like they're going to put a little bit of a darker twist to this character, which he's definitely talented in the ring. Joe Gacy, I saw his matches. He's definitely talented in the ring. It's just the character, that gimmick really isn't translating to what he can do in the ring. So it seems like they're trying to twist it up a little bit, which I do slightly appreciate. I feel as though, anytime we have these positive characters and they have like this dark twist to them, I kind of dig those type of characters. But, if it's done pretty well. So I'll see what this will turn out to be. But I'm not really holding my breath to it either. So that was all that I remembered from NXT 2.0. It was probably a bunch of other stuff on top of that. I know it was that whole segment with Mandy Rose and Io Shirai, and Io Shirai is my spirit animal. I love Io Shirai, and I also have to slightly know that something's going to happen with her. Now she's going against Mandy Rose, and I'm sure Mandy Rose is going to do the whole "I'm hotter than you" thing. And I just really hope Io Shirai at least get some beautiful moonsaults off, kick her head off. Not literally, of course, but that, it is what it is. But I know that Io Shirai isn't going to be the same Io Shirai from the Black and Gold brand, or that, she'll slowly fade away. I know they got Tommaso Ciampa still as champion, but it's only a matter of time before he has to drop the belt. And then it's like, where do you go from there with him? Is he part of the NXT 2.0? Is he going to go up to the main roster, or are they going to claim budget cuts and cut him too? So, just waiting to see. And, NXT 2.0 is here. And, no matter how much we cry and complain or anything like that, our Black and Gold NXT is never going to come back. And a lot of people say they feel sorry for Triple H because obviously, the NXT Black and Gold was his baby. I do slightly feel bad for him because they claimed it was still his thing, but he was getting surgery this whole time. He was getting surgery when NXT 2.0 came out. And, he went and actively recruited for a lot of the indie wrestlers, especially when NXT Black and Gold, was really starting to gain traction. He was taking everyone from the indies over to, the Black and Gold. And he was a proud papa, and he would come out, with his kids and stuff like that, especially when they did the Survivor Series with Raw versus SmackDown and stuff. And a lot of people really resonated with him. But of course, then came the boom of the indies and, the AEW coming about, and seeing as though, there was no smooth transition after you leave NXT to go to the main roster, that it'll be them destroying what you created and taking away your name and changing up your look and stuff like that. That's kind of what led to the fall of NXT Black and Gold. I cannot wait till we get the WWE documentary just fucking up all the history that's about of what's happening with Black and Gold NXT. And I know they're going to change history of what actually went down that led to the fall of NXT Black and Gold. They're probably just going to be we just wanted to change up and change, make it, we had a lot of new faces that we wanted to bring in. And so we decided to do NXT 2.0. And, if Triple H is still, with Vince or whatever, he's going to probably co-sign that crap too. Shawn Michaels as well. But, we all going to know the story of this day in 2021 when our youngins are watching that WWE documentary. We're going to turn to our kids and be like, you know what, son? You know what, daughter? Actually, that's not what happened in 2021. It wasn't the whole, we had all these new people and we wanted to just give it a fresh look out of nowhere just for no reason. No, kids, that's not the true story. And we're going to remember this day. And we're going to talk, and we're going to bring the legends, the stories, the tales of NXT Black and Gold. And we're going to find our old, I can't even say VHS tapes or DVDs, because this is all online. We're going to find the old YouTube videos, if it's still around, of the Black and Gold NXT. It may still be on Peacock or WWE Network or whatever it's going to be at that time, but we're all going to remember this time. These fine times of the Black and Gold NXT and the feuds that it led to, and the story of Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, and the craziness which was Shinsuke Nakamura, and all the tales that we have experienced these past 7 years with NXT Black and Gold. So it was a good ride, and NXT 2.0 is here to stay. And, we gotta have a moment of silence, pour one out for the homies of the Black and Gold NXT, because it was a wild ride. It was a good ride. NXT Black and Gold really opened my eyes to the indies. I was kind of watching a bit of the indies. I'm lying. I'm lying. When I started watching the indies, it was when NXT Black and Gold was still around, was just starting. So, wait, was it? No, I'm wrong. I caught an indie show before NXT before I started watching NXT, because I started watching NXT really when it came on, a little bit after it came on the network, because I remember hearing about it with WrestleMania 30, and the first indie show I went to was House of Hardcore when it came to Philly in like before Mania 30, so that was a lie. However, NXT Black and Gold really exposed me to a lot more people from the indies, I should say. And so, hearing names and stuff like that. When Shinsuke was rumored, I looked up Shinsuke Nakamura, Adam Cole and stuff like that. I mean, I heard, you hear people's names, but you never really watch matches. And so it really opened up my eyes to a lot more outside the WWE bubble. So that's it for the Wrestlebread podcast. Thank you so much for listening. So speaking about the quote-unquote WWE bubble, there is something new that I am doing with the YouTube channel of the podcast. I decided to do reactions because as my story, as you know, I've been watching WWE for almost 30 years now. And I only watched WWE for a very long time. Like back with the old Monday Night Wars, I watched WWE only. I knew of ECW, I knew of WCW. I watched a little bit of it, but nothing consistently. Just like how people are today, where they only stick to WWE or they only stick to AEW, and you just we didn't have social media back then, but if we did, I would have been definitely one of these people that have been just completely bad-mouthing WCW, not even watching it like that, and just completely say how WWE sucks and all this other stuff, and WCW sucks, and WWE is the best thing ever, and all this other stuff, as if I was like, as if I was paid to do all this. I was so loyal to WWE. If I was like watching ECW or WCW for too long, I felt that I was cheating on them. True story. I was married to WWE. And so, as I started to watch more people from outside of WWE, especially with AEW, I came to realize that I really missed a lot with WCW and ECW and even like New Japan and all that stuff. So I decided to do on the YouTube channel, I decided to do reactions to promos and matches that I never seen before. So I mentioned on Twitter, under the podcast and under myself, you can offer me suggestions of matches or promos, good, bad, worst, excellent, that you would like for me to react to. Basically to kind of like live moments that I missed out on. I did something similar to this for not really video, but I did a special episode of the podcast where I watched the best matches from Halloween Havoc, and I actually watched Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio at Halloween Havoc. I think that was 1991. And like I felt like I got slightly emotional because I was like, had I seen that match live when it actually came out, I actually would have been watching WCW. Because one of the things that I really liked about WWE back in the day, I liked their cruiserweight division. I was a fan of Eddie Guerrero. I was a fan of Rey Mysterio and the cruiserweights and stuff. And not really realizing the thing that I really liked a lot was actually in WCW originally. So had I seen, no, not 1991, I think it was 97 actually, that Halloween Havoc. And so had I actually watched that Halloween Havoc, I definitely would have been watching WCW a lot more. And I would have had like a lot more experience, as a well-rounded wrestling fan, I guess I should say, watching WCW and ECW. So, I'm kind of like catching up on a lot of the things I like missed out on as a wrestling fan. And so I'm kind of, you know, putting it out there on the YouTube video to kind of like put out my reaction of how I feel about it and stuff like that. And especially when something is really good, if you watch something really good or really bad, the first thing you do is to get someone else's reaction to it, because you're kind of like reliving the moments or the show and stuff like that through someone else's eyes. So I kind of wanted to do that as well. So if you have a suggestion, I have a lot of suggestions so far. So thank you to everyone so far who has given me suggestions. And if you have a suggestion of a match that you would like for me to check out, and it could be WCW, ECW, New Japan, Lucha Underground, AAA, Ring of Honor, Impact, even one of the smaller indie shows, if I could find it on YouTube somewhere, definitely let me know. If there's a promo you would like me to react to and stuff like that, like I said, good, bad, ugly, great, mind-blowing, let me know. Let me give some shout outs first. Shout out to Julian Rob Bass from Wrestling Court Podcast and AlternativeMinds.com. I was on their most recent episode, so be sure to check them out as well. Keita and Jay from the Keita and Jay Show. Chris from We Talk Next Podcast, which is featured on the Keita and Jay Show. Nando and Larry from Half K Podcast. Devin Hafiz from Clark Street Wrestling Podcast. I was also on another one of their recent episodes, so check them out as well. Special shout out to Straight Talk Wrestling Podcast, Circle of Debate, and Top Rope Wrestling Podcast as well. Coming up next week, I will be giving my predictions for Full Gear. And no, the following week will be Survivor Series. So I'll be giving my predictions for Full Gear, and can't wait for that to come about. It seems like that card is going to be pretty good as well. Be sure to hop on Twitter and follow me at JDC137. And also, you can follow the podcast on Twitter at Wrestlebread as well. Be sure to click either of the links in the profile. It's the Linktree link, and it'll give you links to my Instagram, my TikTok, my Twitch channel as well. I'm redoing the scheduling, so be on the lookout for that as well. You can also find the podcast on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, which what I said what I'll be doing with the YouTube as well. And you can also find the podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. So be sure to leave a review. Let me know your thoughts. Give me some suggestions, please, of what matches you would like for me to react to. Until next time, guys, peace.